MFA's mission has always been to uphold Singapore's independence and sovereignty, and at the same time to advance the interests of Singaporeans both at home and especially overseas. All these Singaporeans have shared with me that when the chips are down and when they are in a moment of great distress, what is most comforting is to hear that familiar Singapore accented voice. And they know that we will leave no Singaporean behind. We launched 2 flights in late January and early February this year to Wuhan to bring our people home. Whilst many people were trying to leave Wuhan, it's noteworthy that our pilots, flight crew, nurses, and MFA consular officers volunteered to fly into the epicenter of the epidemic. I believe this was a display of the Singapore spirit at its best, tested and proven in a time of crisis. As our closest neighbors, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei will always be of special importance to us. Our ties with Malaysia are deeply rooted in history, the people-to-people ties, and business links. We congratulate Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin on being appointed Malaysia's 8th Perdana Menteri. We look forward to Prime Minister Muhyiddin forming his new cabinet soon. He hasn't announced it yet, but we know many of the personalities who are potential cabinet members, and we know them from our prolonged engagement over decades. We have always sought a win-win approach in the many areas where we have common interests, such as the Singapore-Johor-Bahru Rapid Transit System, the RTS for short, the Singapore-Kuala Lumpur High-Speed Rail, the HSR. These are mutually beneficial projects for both countries. These major infrastructural projects cannot be suspended indefinitely. We look forward to hearing from Malaysia on these 2 projects in particular in the coming months. Mr. Pritam Singh has asked for an update on the bilateral issues and in particular on the 1962 Water Agreement. In the spirit of bilateral cooperation, but without prejudice to our position that Malaysia has lost the right of review, we have been willing to listen to and to discuss Malaysia's proposals on the basis that there must be a balance of benefits for both sides. We made it clear to Malaysia that any review of the price of raw water sold to Singapore will also mean a review of the price of treated water sold to Johor. Both sides must also discuss the yield and the quality of the water from the Johor River. I have explained all this in some detail so that both Malaysians and Singaporeans will appreciate that we are taking a consistent, a constructive, and a mutually beneficial approach to the development of water infrastructure in Johor. With Indonesia, our deep and multifaceted relationship is rooted in the belief that cooperation is beneficial for both sides. Singapore and Indonesia have agreed on a framework for discussions on 2 sensitive issues: the management of our flight information region and military training. Our long-standing special relationship is built on a strong strategic trust at the leaders level and the pillars of strong defense cooperation and the currency interchangeability agreement. Mr. Vikram Nair has highlighted the need for us to maintain good relations with both the US and China. Actually, the key variable is the relationship between the US and China. The strategic choices of the US and China will shape whether the 2 superpowers reach a mutual understanding and foster a stable global order. Both the US and China must know that although we want to have good relations with both, we do not do things at their behest. Ultimately, We act in a principled way, and we will only do what is in the best long-term interests of Singapore citizens. We must thus continue to invest a fair share of our resources in diplomacy so that we have the capacity to protect our sovereignty, most importantly, keep Singapore and Singaporeans safe.